I basically saw a help wanted sign in the old West Covina store in 1979. And I came in and there was a young lady by the name of Ann Roberts who was no longer with us anymore. I came in with long hair down to my shoulder and of course a bow tie and asked for a job, and she looked at me and said, okay, well, I want you to take all these colors, swatches, and all these rubber swatches, which was about 10 pounds of side friction rubber. She says, go home tonight, study this stuff. If you come back tomorrow and we'll go over it, then you got the job. I didn't even fill out an application. So I came back the next day and she quizzed me on the numbers and stuff and the colors, and I got it all right, and now here I am. The rest is history. Mr. Van Doren, and I've always over the years called him Mr. Van Doren, but now it's Steve-O, so it's a little bit more relaxed. He noticed that, or had heard that I kept the back room so super clean and neat, and he wanted to see it for himself, and just one day he decided to show up, but he didn't, tell anybody he did. So I happened to be working that morning in the back room, and the floor was absolutely spotless. So it was a linoleum floor, I remember correctly, and I had just cleaned it that morning, and you practically eat off of it. Shoes were all nice and neat and straight, and not a piece of trash or anything. He came through the back door, and then I just happen to see this man in the corner of my eye, and he's at the end of the aisle. Well, he takes a running dash, and he slides on his knees all the way for about 10, 15 feet until he gets up to me, stands up and says, hi, I'm Mr. Van Doren. Vans Van Doren. Wow, if this is the owner of the company, I'm in a great place. Ever since then, it's just history. So again, him believing in me, it was time to cut my hair and grow up, be an assistant manager, and work my way up through the ranks in the retail world for all the way to district manager in about 10 years. It's going with the Vans 4 pillars and what we stand for: music, art, action sports. In those particular categories, what I've always been rewarding about Vans is we've been a company, no matter how bigger we're getting, and we're getting bigger in each year that we're growing in categories, we're growing in product development, our apparel division, they're hiring more people. But I guess that the theme is to stay hungry but humble. And one thing about Vans, even over the years, even in times of when we were at Chapter 11 days, we're always a company that gives back to the industry or give back to the community itself. We've always been people that not to just take and keep, but give back. It's called challenge. It's to give them the respect for where they've come from over the years, but we're not as a company to mimic Nike. Even though they're our competition now, and it's not to be arrogant to say that Osiris and other companies that have been in the action sports industry are competitors anymore. It's now the Reeboks, it's now the Pumas and the Nikes, but to give them the respect for where they've come from. But as if we refer it for a great example with the US Open, Nike had the US Open for a number of years and they gave it up. And then we finally took it last year for the first time. So the big question mark out there, the industry and the public was, is Vans going to outdo Nike? No, it really wasn't the answer or the objective. The objective for Vans was to take this event and do it in our own way. The way Vans does events and does things based on our history. We are here to be here, and we are not going anywhere but to compete with Nike in the way that Vans needs to compete with Nike. And eventually, hopefully, we can grow just as big. When Van Doren Rubber Company first started, it was certainly a family atmosphere. It was run by Mr. Paul Van Doren, Steve Van Doren's father, and a lot of relatives involved, so it gave more of a strong family feeling. Obviously, as there is change. We always constantly have philosophies of you have to sometimes stop and look at the forest for what it is, and not lose where your roots and history is. Again, be very humble. Don't lord it over that you're with Vans. We're now almost a $2 billion company, and that we need to lord it over, folks. We need to stay humble, stay true to our customers, be very thankful that our customers come and continue to buy our product, and that goes on day in, day out. they offer a little bit more than they cultivate with the action sports market, as well as the inner city and hip hop too as well, with cross cultures. I think Agenda here has a lot to offer. This is the second time Agenda's been here, so it's still got to get on its feet a little bit. I think Agenda eventually can be a very, very strong, pliable show that can be a statement in the Las Vegas area where they're going to be in conjunction with the Magic Show. And I think that they can continue to be strong as time goes on.